Welcome. Hi, my name is Carol Mixon, and I'm going to be talking to you today about customers are not always right. So, this has got to be a good topic, right? That's just starting out right. Handling people who are living in the space, that just starts it out. It's interesting because this space right here, I was doing a physical inventory of a property in Salt Lake City, and I walked around the corner, and the lady was laying down, and you can see the bed in the back, and she was laying down there. And so I snapped a picture of the space and everything, but she's clearly living out of the space. She was laying there and she goes, "Oh no, I was just getting ready to put the bed up and move everything around. I'm kind of going through my stuff and organizing it." No is the answer. When you see them laying in there and doing nothing at 8 in the morning, yes, they're trying to live out of the space. So only allow them access to the space when the office is open, and require active use of the space and no loitering. They're not allowed to just hang out in the space and do nothing, right? Yeah, because they try to do other things in the space and it's not right. So I want to be careful about that. So what happens if the customers make employees miserable? I think this has happened over the years, I guess, lots of times since I've been in this for so long. But you want to realize that, it shows the employees and the customers that the management supports the customers more than employees. There are times when I know that when I approach the store and the manager tells me about something, and the manager said, I've warned them several different times that I need to go out there and say, you need to get out. You're living out of the space, or you're peeing on, the neighbor's door. They don't like that. These are all real things. So you want to be careful about that, because if you don't, it really wears on the employee morale. They feel like the customers are supported and allowed to do certain things, and yet they're sort of held responsible for what they do. But remember, sometimes this causes employee resentment towards the supervisor or the owner. So you want to try to nip these things in the bud when they first start happening. Remember, problematic customers take more time to manage. If you allow them to stay there, if you allow them to continue doing things, not only does it cause more time, but it also brings more of whatever that is in. They tell their friends and it's problematic. So think about that when you're sort of like trying to turn a blind eye, as they say. It takes additional resources to monitor and restrict the use of the space. So think about that. I like to charge people more for being bad tenants. And it increases the stress level of the manager and the employees and the customers, because even though they know they're doing something wrong, they try to hide from the manager. It's a game sometimes, the whole process, and I don't really like it. So I really do listen to my managers. When they say there's a problem, I go down and reinforce the manager's ability to get them out, or to curb the problem and take care of it. So the other thing to remember is the customer isn't the storage expert. They don't really know everything about it. Some customers have been storing for so long that they think that their voice can change policies and procedures. And that is probably also a no, like, "Oh, I've rented here for 10 years and I can't believe I've had like 5 late fees now. You can't keep charging me these late fees." Well, they know the policies and the procedures, so I don't know why, because they've been there for 10 years, that would make any difference. So this also undermines the manager's authority. If you as the supervisor or the owner, you come in and say, "Oh, well, oh, I'm so sorry the manager was like that. We're going to go ahead and waive these fees," and stuff. It really doesn't help support the manager. I try to listen to both sides and make sure I know what's going on before I actually, interact with the customer, so I know whether is this something I can support or I can't support. And if I can't support it, I always talk to the manager first and say, "You know what, that I think based on what they've told me and what you've written here and what they've shown me, I believe, we've made a mistake and we need to make it right." It lets them know that they have a voice and how the property operates. And you have to be a little bit concerned about that at times, because you don't want them to rule what our rules are, or to tell us how we're going to operate. You want to make sure the managers still have control over the property. Let your manager have some latitude to manage. The general rules and policies, give them some leeway to make some decisions. For example, if we, or if they're allowed to waive the first late fee, if they've been a customer for 10 years, what they can do. And then that's also what they won't allow. And I know I went to this particular store in Southern California, and these people, not only do they have all this stuff hooked up, but they had all kinds of stuff strewn. You can sort of see a little bit there, all the way down the aisle. And I was having to, I was doing a physical inventory, so I'm kind of trying to look through and try not to step on anything at the same time. But the reality is this shouldn't be allowed. And if they are doing this, the, to the extent that they are doing it right here, someone has allowed them to do that. And I would not allow that. And I would support my managers all day long. And if something is amiss and they're problematic, or we have to continually keep telling them, go up on the rent. I'd say, charge them another $50 a month and send them a rent increase and say, well, now we're having to monitor you every day and how you're using the space. And if you want them out, you can certainly go up like $300 a month. I'd love to do that. Ever want to get them out, give them a substantial increase. And also you can limit their hours that they're coming in and out to only the time the office is open. So you have a lot of leeway of what you can do to make their life a little miserable if they're going to make this kind of mess and cause you problems. Because other customers, this is kind of scary to them. And plus, that's a fire hazard too. Look at all that stuff's messed up in there. And it looks like they've been vaping. Not that I know what a vape would look like, but they're charging everything that they own. So then maybe I'm homeless too, as I'm guessing. But what if there have been customers for 10 years and the letter was postmarked in time? Let's say it's a late fee. Give the manager some latitude to actually manage. You hire them as managers, and then sometimes we don't allow them to do much. But especially if they make a decision and say, you know what, based on, I didn't want to make the customer any more upset than they already were. And I didn't want to lose their business because they've been a good tenant, and I made the decision, and let them stand by it. But again, you have to let them be able to manage. And if they're not doing it properly, explain to them why you wouldn't have done it. And then in the future, you would prefer, at this point forward, that, this customer does not get any breaks after this one. We don't want every customer. That's just true. And I know over the years, there have been times that I thought any customer will do. We are just happy to take everyone. And that's, now I'm a little older and wiser. Okay, a lot older and wiser. Living in a space, that's a no. Not only do customers burn up in their own space, which is horrible to think about because they left a heater on in there, that they just, there's so many things that can happen. And not only are they putting themselves at risk, they're putting other people's goods at risk, and it's just not the right thing to do. They need to find another place to live. It's not appropriate, and you have to stop that. And there are certainly ways to do it, overlocking them, making sure that they don't have hours outside of the office hours, things like that. But also if they're making a mess on the property when they're doing business or using the space. I know sometimes landscapers do this. They come and they put all their stuff into their 10 by 10, let's say, and yet they leave all the clippings or clippings to come off of stuff. And then after they put all their stuff away, their employees put away, it leaves a big mess outside. You have to talk to them and let them know. I also, in Stockton, California, had the Stockton Record storing with us, and they brought all of their papers in for the day, and all of their paper people that threw their papers, out on the lawn. That doesn't happen as much anymore, does it? Anyway, so they would do all of that at our storage property. So that we gave them 24-hour access because they had 3 10 by 30s that they used. And that was an awesome customer, but they made a mess every day, and it drove my manager nuts. She said, I literally spend 45 minutes every single morning cleaning up their mess. And I was like, okay, that's not right. Fix that. Make that right. Making a mess of the property when they're doing business or using the space, that is not tolerated either. We have to do something different. And so I contacted the place, and we came to an arrangement. As soon as they were done, they would clean up, and they gave them some little stuff to sweep it up. So they helped with us to make that happen. So, and this also requires more resources to manage and supervise. So when you have weird things going on at the store, it costs more time and effort for the manager, and it takes them away from the job that I really want them to do, is selling. Remember, this also increases your employees' stress. It's not worth the stress of having to deal with some of these customers that are, frankly, some of them are scary, have scared me before. I know I've been like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't go do this, or I need someone with me to talk to the customer, because they look scary to me. So I'm thinking, okay, we probably should go both to go. And somebody said, either the husband or the wife, like, let's go together, because I don't want to go by myself, because they're tough. And so you just never know. One bad apple ruins the barrel of apples. My dad used to say that, but I realized looking up the proverb, it was wrong. It's as one bad apple soils the others, so must you show no quarter to sin or sinners. Well, we see certainly in self-storage have a lot of sin and sinners. Look at this picture. Okay, that is not just one customer. That has to be a customer putting something there and another customer saying, yeah, I'm going to put this there. And it just all of a sudden, that bad behavior tends to cause others to have bad behavior in the same manner, and they just leave it. It just shouldn't happen. And somehow I'm thinking the manager may even be putting stuff on that pile that I'm just guessing, okay, that ends up left on the property. Don't let this get started just because it gets worse and worse. And warn customers in writing and charge them if they continue. Because I've looked it up on camera and found out, well, okay, that was customer in E21. They're the one that's left the washer and dryer there. And that those are not easy to dispose of. This store is in Richmond, California, and it's really difficult to get rid of anything. And I'm sure they're going to charge you at the dump if you go there. So it's going to cost us money also. Enforce the rules. If you have rules, enforce them. Document all problems that you have in your storage software in the customer's file, and take photos of the damage or even gross stuff and weird stuff. And I have to say, people have pooped on the property or let their dogs do it, and I take pictures of it, right, where they've done it, or and the managers have taken pictures. I'm like, yeah, I probably didn't need to see that, but then I'm like, no, they're right, we probably should put that in their files so we know what's going on. And check the cameras for offenders. Figure out who it is that's doing this. Look, figure out how to use your DVR. It's so often my manager's like, yeah, I don't know how to use that. I'm like, yeah, okay, well, we can fix that. I can show you how to use that, and we can find it, and it's really easy, and it's kind of fun to watch sometimes too. I want you to look at this picture. It seems odd to me. $100 minimum fine for dumping property under video surveillance. Now, what do? But they put all the crappy boxes right there underneath the sign. And I'm going to say that, well, okay, the sack maybe no, but those rest of those boxes looked like they came from the same customer or person. I'm thinking, just a guess. I'd still hunt them down, no matter what. I'd still hunt them down. Well, you also have detective duties, right? This is something that my daughter found on the floor of the bathroom. She had a customer that went into the bathroom, and after, she always goes in and cleans up. So after he walked out, she went in and she saw this on the floor. And the guy had shot up some meth in the, well, or whatever was in there. I don't know what was in there, but he shot up in the bathroom and just left the needle like that. And there were other people. She was telling me that, Mom, there are kids here. There are a bunch of people on the property. What do I do? And I said, well, first off, lock up that bathroom for the moment. And they're right next to a fire station. I said, go next door to the fire station. Those guys will be able to help handle that. They have equipment to do that, and they can come over and dispose of that, so you're not touching it or anything. So yes, on occasion, we need to put, sort of the detective hat on and find that bad apple. Handle the situation cautiously too, especially in a case like this. You don't know what's in there. Don't smell, bottles that are opened up or the left, don't open the bottle and smell what's in it, because people have died before doing that. Be careful. And also check the cameras. I told my daughter, I said, check the cameras. She goes, I already did. And you're looking for the perp. And she said, I knew it was that guy. And I knew there was no one after him that went in there. So it was some young guy, and they turned around and they kicked him out the next day. So that's the kind of stuff that you need to do. Be a detective and find out what's going on. We don't do everything right. Okay, let's just say, and my managers have never done everything right. Sometimes we like not overlocking or removing overlocks after the customer's paid up, or overlocking the wrong space. They actually overlocked the wrong space when they thought it was someone that was should have been in delinquency and they weren't. And forgetting to remove the company lock after the space is rented, like a new space is rented, we lock it up, and forgetting to do that. And I'll tell you, that one has cost me more money than anything else, because I have paid for truck rental, I've paid for people to help, because they had people there helping. They had paid for the truck. They had to keep it over the weekend. I mean, it was just, I think it was over $1,000 that I ended up paying for one in Northern California. And I did it because it was the right thing to do. I'm sure lots of owners wouldn't have done that, but I thought, you know what? It's the right thing to do. My manager made a mistake. It costs these people money. I don't want a bad review. I want to make it right. And we did. But remember, even things like putting in the wrong gate code, making sure that you verify that and the customer knows it and you've written it down correctly, because sometimes what went in the computer is not what was on the card that we gave the customer. So always double check your work. And I always like to say, when you do codes, go out and check it with the customer. Make sure they know how to use it and it works right. Applying a check to the wrong customer's account, dang it. Over the years, that's happened a lot of times. They put it under a Smith, but it was a different Smith, and the customer kept saying, I sent in my same payment, you all cashed it, and they bring it in and show it, and lo and behold, we put it under the wrong unit number. And so it wasn't their fault. And so we did actually, try to make it right with the customer, because we make mistakes over time. During the COVID-19 pandemic, they're opportunists, or, are these people real or fake? I don't know. I've been working with a call center, and I've been listening to some of the people saying, this one lady, she was like, oh, I've got COVID and I can barely speak. And by the time, in like 4 or 5 minute call, near the end, she's yelling. She's very upset with the call center person. She's yelling, and and she did not sound like she had COVID at the end, or what she was saying at the beginning. But decide what you're willing to do. Is that, maybe a free month, and maybe move out, and they owe some money, skipping the auction, letting them come get their crap out. I know that's I know that sounds bad. Maybe I shouldn't have said the crap word. But the weird thing about it is, look at this space right here. If you were thinking about, okay, now I have to clean this out, or what am I going to get for this space? I don't know. Sometimes it's just better to let it go. Let the person, if they say they've, been affected by COVID and they've got all this stuff in here, I would just say, when can you come get it? We need you to get it out. If you can get it out within the next 5 days or something like that, then, we'll just forget the debt totally. And then I'm going to re-rent it. And I know some owners are like very upset about that. But sometimes the fact is, by the time we wait, and sometimes even on, probably not on this space, but it is kind of gross dirty, it would require a certain type of buyer, is what I would say. There might be some jewels in there, but when you look at how long the stuff's been in there, it might not be worth much, or it might get $20 or $25 because they know they're going to put so much work into it, getting rid of the other stuff. So after you waited all that time for $25, and then you have to clean it up a little bit to get it rented out. And I don't know, sometimes it's not worth it. Just let the customer get their stuff out and just get rid of it. So what are you willing to do? Maybe a free month, and then get it out, move out owing money. That's a possibility. Maybe they skip the auction and just let them take their things, right? One of those, any of those, it will work. Finding a balance. How do we cope with customers who are problematic? This is the upset customer. This is a customer that's never nice, always a complainer. But just be careful not to get in any legal trouble. Check the SSA website for updates to the law relating to COVID-19. There are some like counties in LA where now is not a good time to auction anyone off. No evictions. I think, even though we're not exactly called an eviction, but if we're kicking people out because they're not paying, that's a problem. And depends on the severity of the issue. Find a balance. Find a way to try to resolve it. And maybe if it's heated for you and you're like feeling pretty stressed about it, maybe let your supervisor, owner, someone else, get some advice from someone else. What do you think I should do about this? Because it's not always easy. You can always call me. I get lots of calls like this. What do you think about this customer? And after I usually listen to it, I'm like, yeah, you're kind of too close to it. You're pretty upset about it. I just let them move out and then re-rent it. I'd say, how full are you? And then they're like, yeah, we're 100% or close. So yeah, just let them go, get their stuff out and go. Sometimes it's just easier, right? So please, I would love any of you that have ideas or suggestions for webinars, please let me know. We're trying to do some quick webinars just for training during this time of COVID and to give you some feedback. My name's Carol Mixon from SkillCheck. If you need to contact me, it's carol@skillcheck.com or 1-800-374-7545, and let me know if you have any. And please subscribe, because I really need some more people to subscribe. And if you could tell 5 other people to watch or look at them, it'd be great. Thank you very much, and happy renting. Bye.